On Billboard tonight, public art in Grimsby, live music in Hull and Cooper Hoffman in film review. Welcome to Billboard with me, Ted Stanley, for our monthly roundup of arts and entertainment in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. There's a final chance to enter the Hammond House International Literary Prize, which closes on the 30th of September. All shortlisted entries are published in the annual anthologies, and winners receive cash prizes and recognition of their achievements at the annual literary festival in February. Categories this year include short stories, poetry, scriptwriting, comedy and songwriting.
Changes, I am making changes for the better every day. Don't judge me by the songs I sing or the words upon the page, but judge me by the things I do and the changes I have made.
Other literary news now with journalist and broadcaster Hugh Richards.
Thanks, Ted. Straight in this week with 4 literary giants and some of my favourite writers: Ian McEwan, Robert Harris, Ben McIntyre and Mel C, otherwise known as Sporty Spice. Ian McEwan's latest novel, Lessons, lives up to its name. It starts with real lessons in a post-war school for a boy who finds few allies other than his delightful piano teacher. The years proceed and he's abandoned by his wife to bring up their son. As he ages, he realises his life has been reactive, out of his control, measured by world events like Suez, Cuban missiles, Chernobyl and pandemic. All he can control, he understands, is his response to love, music, friends and literature. The rest of his life has been out of his control and thus perhaps out of his responsibility. Elegant as ever, McEwan's Lessons suggest that very little of our lives is ours to decide. Robert Harris has made a well-earned fortune in historical novels. The Third Reich, the Dreyfus Affair, Ancient Rome, and even Tony Blair have fed his curiosity. Now, with Act of Oblivion, he turns to the restoration of Charles II in 1660. The King's father was beheaded 11 years before by Oliver Cromwell and his men. Now the crown is back, and vengeance is required on the traitors who signed the death warrant. 2 of them are hiding out in America. In London, a wily detective is sent to catch them. You always know you'll get a fine tale from Harris, embellished here with fascinating history, and better luck now to anybody called King Charles. Colditz, Ben McIntyre's book about prisoners in that castle during the Second World War, claims to reveal more than it does. Of course, there are tales of derring-do, imaginative and clever escape attempts, great camaraderie, and a slightly boarding school Tom Brown spirit. McIntyre thinks we'll be surprised by the endless boredom, the relief of young men's frustrations that they might not have mentioned to their wives after liberation, and snobbery, the depression and madness. But those are all entirely to be expected in such a setting. He still gives us the heroic eccentrics we've come to expect, and McIntyre refers to Colditz as a Gothic castle. Surely it's Baroque. If you want to be my lover, you have to like the Spice Girls. If they don't cheer you up, you have no hope. Melanie C, Sporty Spice, produces her account of her days with the band, Who I Am. She answered an ad in the paper and then became a superstar. It's a fun ride, though she avoids scandal, strife and gossip. As for revealing who she really is, well, introspection might not be Sporty's strongest point. That's it, Ted. Probably see you back in Blighty next time.
The first programme in the new season of the Heritage Channel, which broadcast in September, included tourist trails in North East Lincolnshire, memories of the Queen's visit in 1958 and the legend of Grim. You can watch it now on the Facebook group or YouTube channel. This new series of the Heritage Channel has been funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund to showcase the unique heritage of North East Lincolnshire. As well as our monthly magazine programmes covering events, projects, people and activities, we will also be producing feature documentaries. Training in video production will help local people and organisations make the most of this important media. There will be opportunities for local people interested in heritage to be channel correspondents, and work will be commissioned from local creatives. You can find out more on our Facebook page or email news@heritage-channel.org. The Turntable Gallery is a new contemporary art space in the heart of Grimsby, run by two local artists, Dale Wells and Darren Neve, who met while studying at the University of Lincoln.
So myself and Darren, who's my partner in the Turntable, we were both quite frustrated really by the lack of contemporary spaces in the area in Lincolnshire. And, you know, we both love galleries. You know, we've both travelled, and shown really across the UK and internationally. And we felt that, you know, there's really no reason why Grimsby couldn't host its own contemporary gallery. So our idea was that if we could perhaps create a space where we could show the kind of work that would get us excited, then it might also then, you know, make other people excited about art. So I suffer with various mental health issues, and I'm going through a neurodivergent diagnosis at the moment as well. So an awful lot of my work is based on myself as a person, but not very recognisable as myself, you see, because I use architecture, I use various toys and things which I used to play with as a child, but there's nothing personal to them as such, okay? They're just kind of blank canvases really, because, you know, we all have different interactions with the things which we play with, I guess, you know, and the things in which we encounter. So my works take the form of metaphorical diorama. So they're scale pieces, and in doing so, I can make these great timelines of events which have happened to not only me, but also you know, people across the country, across the world, etc. Yeah, so the current one is Jake Chapman. Okay, it's called Hintergrund, and they're based on the works of George Grosz, who was a early 20th century German artist. He basically looked around himself at the rise of Nazism and this sort of grotesque kind of nationalism which was pervading a lot of German culture at the time, and he felt so incensed by it, so disgusted by it, that he anglicised his name, and he went to live in America, and then started an art movement, and really sort of went to town on sort of attacking various sort of institutes of Nazism, but also, you know, wider fascism, I guess. And Jake has had the prints from a 1928 series, and recently he's started to overwork them. So he's basically coloured them in a way in which sort of suggests that there's a futility to furthering this kind of voice that George Grosz had, because, you know, everything has kind of been said before, you know, but we just don't seem to be learning the lessons of the past. So the current exhibition represents completely new work, so it's a debut for not only Grimsby, but really, I guess, with him being an international presence, with the world. So it's a massive thing for us. We have just secured an exhibition by Tim Noble. Okay, again, another prominent contemporary British artist. He's coming in hopefully early to mid next year. We have a Jeremy Dowler exhibition, and he's a Turner Prize winner. So, you know, we're doing big things, really. It's there's an awful lot of stuff coming up. And of course, you know, we're on the High Street as well. We're on Victoria Street. So, you know, if anyone is in the area, or, you know, if they're not in the area, come down and see us. We'd love to have a chat and show you around.
You can find out more at turntablegallery.uk. In other art news, the September exhibition at the Hammond House Gallery in Louth is one of the most popular so far this year. Shoreline to Hedgerow, a joint exhibition of paintings, drawings and textile sculptures by Annie Thwaites and Nicky Dilliston, celebrates natural forms from the Lincolnshire beaches and countryside. The exhibition closes on the 30th of September. Music now, and here's folk singer and music historian Kirsty Hanna with some of the best live gigs you can look forward to over the next few weeks.
Since forming in 1997, Top Loader have amassed over 2 million album sales and a multitude of top 20 hits, both home and abroad. Their debut album, Onka's Big Mocker, sold over 1 million copies and remained in the top 5 of the UK album chart for over 6 months, earning them 4 Brit Award nominations and cementing them as a must-see live act. Perhaps best known for their global hit Dancing in the Moonlight, the track made Top Loader into the household name they are today. You can see them at Docks Beers in Grimsby on the 22nd of October.
Sing it, come on! Pretty good.
Singer-songwriter Callum Scott returns to his own home for a gig at the Bonus Arena in Hull on Saturday the 8th of October as part of his European tour. Expect classics from his debut album Only Human and new material including his latest single If You Ever Change Your Mind.
Don't know if I take you back, but you know that I'll be thinking about that all night. If you ever change your mind.
Also at the Bonus Arena in Hull on the 19th of October, Corey Taylor, the frontman of the multi-million selling Slipknot, visits on his short UK tour. Over the past 2 decades, Corey Taylor has built one of the most dynamic and thrilling careers in modern music. The Beachcomber hosts the 10th annual Cleethorpes Blues, Rhythm and Rock Festival on Sunday the 23rd of October. The lineup includes Martin Turner, Rebecca Downs, Brave Rival, Blue Nation and Big Joe Bone. And finally, the Ropery Hall in Barton feature folk duo Megson on the 29th of October. 4 times nominated for the BBC Radio 2 Folk Awards and double winners of the Spiral Earth Awards, Stu and Debbie Hanna draw on their Teesside heritage to create a truly unique brand of folk music.
And then the lucky ones of us drove off to college in a car full of bags and pans. Our parents hoping we'd learn to cope in all the things that the world demands. But we spent 2 years drinking, 1 year thinking how to pay back our student loans. We never learned the meaning of washing or cleaning, just danced the night down in our dirty clothes.
Working in the care sector is really rewarding for people who enjoy working with others and enjoy helping people.
To bring a smile to somebody's face, to offer to go shopping for somebody who can't do it themselves, that's what's rewarding.
It's difficult to actually describe how I feel. Proud because I'm changing not just my life but a client and the loved ones, the families around them as well.
You know, your job's very rewarding to know that you've helped someone or you've saved someone's life.
I think it's little things. You are making a difference, however small it is.
Coming up on tonight's show, the new artist in residence on Grimsby Docks, Dale Mackie, and a new play at Grimsby's Caxton Theatre. But first, here's actress and broadcaster Liz Drury with a review of the latest film releases.
God-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair.
On Film Review tonight, a timely documentary from Tia Lessin and Emma Pilz, a gripping supernatural thriller from Eskil Vogt, and a fairy tale from Disney. But first, Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, a rare treat full of strange diversions, delightful surprises, and 2 staggeringly impressive debut performances from Cooper Hoffman and Alana Haim. Their curious, idiosyncratic romance takes them on freewheeling adventures in the San Fernando Valley through the summer of 1973. Bradley Cooper, Tom Waits and Sean Penn make up an impressive supporting cast.
Roll sound. Roll Camry. Roll camera B. Market. Action. On! Coming Nancy!
As the courts in America turn back years of progress by making abortion once again illegal, Tia Lessin and Emma Pilld's documentary The Janes could not be more timely or more relevant. In the spring of 1972, police raided an apartment on the south side of Chicago. 7 women were arrested and charged. The accused were part of a clandestine network using code names, blindfolds and safe houses to protect their identities and their work, an underground service for women seeking safe, affordable, illegal abortions.
I couldn't see myself sitting on the sidelines. We were building a new world, one woman at a time.
Sometimes you have to stand up to illegitimate authority, and sometimes there are unjust laws that need to be challenged.
The overwhelming sense of dread in Eskil Vogt's The Innocent doesn't rely on genre tricks, but derives from the tension in the silence between the protagonists. During the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal mysterious powers. But what begins in innocence soon takes a dark and violent turn in this gripping supernatural thriller.
Hva var det som skjedde egentlig? Vi lekte bare litt.
Our family film tonight, A Fairy Tale After All, uses a blend of animation, black and white cinematography and other techniques to express the emotional journey in this boundless adventure. A stubborn teenage girl finds herself confronted by whimsical characters when she's transported into a world of fantasy and fairy tales while attending a school marionette show.
Celestia, this is your home. Those are your people. Without the princess, we are all in danger.
This is a fairy tale.
It's just a story. You'll see.
After all.
On DVD and Blu-ray, The Lost City, Operation Mincemeat and Shang-Chi are also worth a look.
The Grimsby Creates programme is bringing cultural events to North East Lincolnshire and providing new opportunities for the local creative community to get involved. I caught up with CDF programme manager Sarah Smith to find out more.
We've commissioned some creative organisations locally to deliver much needed creative activity in the town of Grimsby. And we also have funded Creative Start to deliver the Paint the Town Proud project. It was really well developed already at the start when the tender submission came in, and we were really taken with the heritage aspect, but also the use of so many different community groups, community members, and the vast variety of creative activity that was on display. And I think what the murals particularly have shown is that the community have really engaged with them, and when they're passing by, their spirits are uplifted by seeing such vibrant murals on the walls. The team from Paint the Town Proud came along and asked people what they thought of it, and also did a lot of social media engagement during the time that Jake was here to paint, which really got people excited.
I moved to Mexico in March of 2015, and I just got really heavily influenced by the folk art of Oaxaca in Mexico, all of the colourful patterns, and I just started playing with it, and it really worked well with my kind of graffiti style. So I'm from Leeds. I saw a lot of graffiti art around Leeds when I was a kid, and so I got into graffiti around the age of 13, 14 years old. Around the age of 20, I started doing youth workshops and community centres around Leeds. I quit my 9-to-5 job and went self-employed, and it's been really successful. I moved to Mexico in March of 2015. I love the Mexican culture. I lived there for 7 years. The folk art in Oaxaca, they create a lot of sculptures which are alebrijes. They're based on Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Like in the afterlife, you get a spirit animal. And I just really loved that, so I started creating my own. And it really worked well with my kind of graffiti style and kind of like fuse them together. Well, I also run a festival in Mexico with a team of people. It's called Acapulco Arts Festival, it's just south of Cancun. Andy P, who's a friend of mine, he's been coming to our festival for the last 4 years, so he's been bringing me in on some projects, and then he introduced me to Becky and the Creative Start team. He highly recommended me, and I'm really, really happy and yeah, really happy to be here.
We were approached by Andy and Becky. Basically, Andy had been looking around town and he came across our wall and he thought it would be a fantastic place to put this mural. It's blown me away, seeing the colours actually come to life and the image come to life. It's far and away exceeded my expectations.
It's in a critical key town centre location, being in the civic quarter next to the court and opposite the town hall. So for the council, it was probably a bit of a make or break, but it was bold, it was brave, and it's brilliant.
It's fantastic for the local area, you know, to try and regenerate it. Definitely, you know, a really positive for the local community, yeah.
So I ended up doing quite a lot of research on Grimsby. I mean, the haddock obviously in there because it's the fishing town, and I kind of wanted to represent the haddock as providing some kind of tourism and bringing up the town. And then I'm putting a Viking boat in there because Grimsby was founded by Grim. I've got the dock tower, yeah, throwing that in there, but they're all going to be like underwater, kind of showing how the haddock basically always will be and has been the main income and source of revenue and culture for this town.
The next public artwork in the Paint the Town Proud project will be an ambitious mural in the East Marsh, designed and led by local artist Dale Mackie, who has just been appointed Artist-in-Residence on the Grimsby Fish Docks.
Well, my artwork was usually based on the Grimsby trawlers and the men who worked on the docks, and now it's evolved into other things, from this map here to the mural I'm going to do later on. Yeah, the map itself, Ravensthird Odd, is not a fantasy. It's a true story based on an island that was lost in the floods, in the Great Floods. But I actually made it into a fantasy map with the monsters and things like that to make it a bit more interesting. Sam Delaney introduced me to the Paint the Town Proud, and he asked me if I wanted to do a mural, not knowing how large it would be. And when he showed me the wall, it's on Garibaldi car park, it was massive, completely massive. So it took me a while to produce a design to actually go on the wall. Well, I can expect to see buildings that have been not there anymore, that have been knocked down Freeman Street up to Ryby Square. And it's probably based in the early 1930s or 40s. You know, we're going to see lots of people wandering around the streets, because it's going to be that big, we're going to have a street. I've collected a lot of old photos of these buildings that are not there anymore, so yeah. So it should be, it's quite an ambitious project. We're just waiting for it to be whitewashed so we can draw the line onto it, and then we'll get started.
Grimsby's Caxton Theatre hosted an open evening last week to launch their 2023 season starting in January. In the meantime, I caught up with theatre director Deborah West and actor Mike Wilson to find out more about their October production, Theft, by rising damp writer Eric Chappell.
The new production at the Caxton Theatre, going out from the 22nd of October to the 29th, is called Theft, and it's a comedy. The story covers an evening with two couples who have known each other since school, and they've been out for a nice meal, all dressed up in their finery, and come home to the home of one of the couples and find they've been burgled. Everything has gone, and the thief is still in the house. I chose this particular production because although it was an unknown play, and I do like plays that are unknown so that the story becomes as a surprise to the audience, it's actually written by Eric Chappell, who wrote Rising Damp, Duty Free, Only When I Laugh, and many, many more. It has all of his hallmark sharp dialogue, but it also has a little bit more depth as well.
Well, my character is a chap called Spriggs, otherwise known as Greasy Spriggs, for something that will become evident throughout the play. It's a laugh a minute. It's all about characters as well, about how this particular chap interacts with the other people and gets to know them probably better than they know themselves. And it explores relationships, not just their personal relationships as married couples, but their relationships with the other married couples, with each other, and in the end, with Spriggs himself.
Theft runs from the 22nd of October. Tickets from the theatre website. Now, with more news of what's on where you are, here's journalist and broadcaster Gemma Lingard with Box Office.
Thank you very much, Ted. So, starting us off, we've got the Pink Floyd Experience that's coming to the Skegness Embassy Theatre on the 8th of October. Celebrating over 50 years of one of rock music's most influential bands, UK Pink Floyd Experience recreates the sights and sounds of their legendary bands in concert.
Danger, heroes get slow.
Over at the Grimsby Auditorium on the 4th of October, G4 Live. The UK's #1 classical vocal quartet exploded into the industry and the public's hearts back in 2004 on the very first series of The X Factor. And they continue to blow people away year after year with their unique style and impactful harmonic vocals, which are incomparable to any other.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Catfish Keith is coming to the East Riding Theatre in Beverley on the 26th of October. The world-touring acoustic blues pioneer has established himself as one of the most exciting country blues performers of our time. Catfish's innovative style of foot-stomping, deep Delta blues and American roots music has spellbounded audiences all over the world. At the Hull Truck Theatre on the 27th of October is Susie Ruffle with Snapping. Susie's brand new show is all about settling down, but not settling. Becoming a mother, but not becoming mumsy. And still worrying about everything.
I've recently had a bad breakup, guys. Recently had a really bad one. No, don't need that. Strong, bad one, really bad one. I don't know if you know this, you can rank your breakups between 0 and Adele, and we kept breaking up and getting back together. Don't do that.
And finally, at the Riverhead Theatre in Louth, featuring the piano and vocal talents of Tom Weston, Young Elton, the tribute show, will transport you back down the yellow brick roads to the electric and eccentric youth of one of the UK's most successful singer-songwriters of all time, Sir Elton John. And you can see it on the 15th of October.
Although I search myself, there's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to
Well, that's almost all for tonight's show. You can keep up to date with the latest news on our Facebook page. And to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes, click the subscribe button below. If you have a story you would like us to feature on Billboard, email details to news@billboardtv.uk. From everyone on the Billboard team, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next month when we meet the Viking founder of Grimsby, author Tracy Baines, and enjoy more entertainment news, entertaining guests, and great music.
Although I search myself, there's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to walk me free. Oh, yeah. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Young Elton